Asha, Michael?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Mike Robinson. I'm not an educator, and I'm not a teacher. I'm not an expert in educational policy. The success or failure of charter schools in Massachusetts will have no impact on my legacy or economic situation. I do come from a family of educators, and I do teach CCD. Two of my sisters are teachers. My mom taught at Roslindale High School, and my grandfather taught at Boston Latin for 45 years. I did also previously contract with the EOE. I'm here to represent the small population of children who have too silent a voice in the charter school debate. Children with disabilities who are underserved in the conference rooms and marbled hallways where decisions are made by those who are looking at averages that determine educational policy. I'm here because I have a moral obligation to inform others and prevent other trusting parents and voters from repeating our mistake. When we entered the charter lottery, it was because of the lack of early education funding. Our school only had half-day kindergarten, and the charter offered full. When my daughter was selected, we signed her up and my son, who was entering second grade. We were warned by many of our teacher friends that charter schools can be harmful to children with disabilities, but we assumed that they were just angry that the charter schools were taking money away from their district. We should have listened. While on paper, charters are obligated to provide special education services, they are not incented to do so. Even though IDEA affords each child a free and appropriate public education, many of these independent schools see special education as a resource-intensive pit, which depletes funds that they would prefer spend elsewhere. That is why, as long as the focus is on averages, and charters operate without local oversight and accountability, many of these charters will continue to target the weak so the school can appear stronger. If you speak to enough parents, you might observe there's a common formula which many charters use against kids with disabilities: making conditions unbearable so the family withdraws. Our family experienced these tactics firsthand. Teachers modeling humiliation and social alienation, illegal use of restraints, punishment as a lever, and suspension as a trapdoor. Gross understaffing of special education, ignorance and avoidance of special ed law, punitive measures against staff who voice recommendations for supports, and the list goes on. This is why, as long as we focus on averages and charters operate without local oversight, we will continue to have these problems. Looking back, I don't know why we fought as long as we did to keep our kids in that school. But in the end, we realized it was too harmful. Today, both children are still recovering. Our daughter was particularly traumatized, and she spent nearly a year at a therapeutic day school, where she rebuilt her trust and confidence so she could return to a general education setting. Our experience with the home district has been in sharp contrast. Our kids have flourished. The administration, the teachers, the staff have been true partners, full of compassion and commitment, and they have helped our children tremendously. Our son's made friends, and he's made honor roll. He plays football. He's regained confidence. Our daughter has made friends. She plays the piano. She's thrived academically. She had a countdown over the summer for when she could finally get back to school. I oppose question 2 because the current charter model is dangerous. Without implementing permanent oversight and controls that ensure accountability to parents, to the community, and to the children, policies must be enacted to ensure charter schools are in compliance with special education, and ongoing monitoring and bidirectional communications with parents must be in place to protect rights and prevent trauma. We need to understand how charter schools fit into a larger education vision that supports all children in the state. An analysis must be done which does not look at averages alone. Charters are by definition independent, and I believe we need to look at individual schools, individual children, to understand whether the current charter model deserves to be expanded without implementing preventative and corrective controls and safeguards. If I could make just one last sentence. Okay. If I could make one last wish, it would be that that my children could have been spared the suffering they endured because we opted for the mirage of school choice. I'm voting number 2 this November, and if you care about vulnerable children in our state, I implore you to do the same.